Grimble by Clement Freud. Friday. On Friday, Grimble woke very early and went out to give the pigeons the last of the sandwiches from the oven. These were now very stale and tasted evil, but pigeons not only have poor table manners, they're unfussy about what they eat. He gave the fattest pigeon a 5-day-old apricot jam butty and stood behind a tree with his jacket ready to catch it. The pigeon waddled along, looked down at the curled up piece of bread, pecked at it, and at that moment Grimble dived. The pigeon took a quick step to one side and Grimble landed on the sandwich. He wiped the jam carefully from the inside of his jacket and decided to have breakfast out. Yesterday's chocolate sauce had been very interesting, but he felt like something special before the Friday fish fingers. He thought a bacon sandwich would be nice. The shop on the corner, which sold newspapers, was so steadily empty that one could always get anything else one wanted done there. Grimble said, "Morning, can I have a button sewn on my jacket and a clean handkerchief and a bacon sandwich while I read your paper?" The woman said, "Of course, that's what I'm here for." And Grimble read, "School holidays begin soon" in one paper, and "School holidays have just begun" in another. Newspapers don't lie, his father told him. They invent the truth. As his school holidays began that afternoon after school, he made a small note on his cuff about which newspaper told the truth and which one didn't, and read about football. His best club had lost the evening before on the bottom of the table. The woman in the paper shop came back with his jacket and the sandwich wrapped in a handkerchief. She was rather a silly woman. He blew his nose, ate the sandwich, gave the woman 5p, folded up the paper, saw that it now had a lot of good bacon fingerprints on it, so put it at the bottom and went off to school. The last day of term was a especially good day. Nothing that happens on the last day counts, because the teachers have done the reports. If you have to stay in after school, you can't, because school's finished. There were no real lessons, just teachers chatting and doing puzzles and telling the boys to clean out their desks and hand in their school books. Next term they were all going up into another class, except for Dashwood, Piercy and Trug, who were staying in the class for another term, because Trug couldn't count. Dashwood didn't know the difference between reading and writing, and Piercy had measles and only been to school on the first day of term, and then again the last day. Grimble felt very, very well all that morning, thinking about his parents flying back from Peru. When he got his milk at 11, he thought they'd just about be passing Birmingham now. And at lunch he thought they must be passing New York, and when the bell went for the end of school to decide what, with the world going one way round and his parents the other, they might have got back yesterday, but they were held up at the airport waiting for their luggage. After school he ran straight home and shouted, "I'm here!" But no one answered. He went up to his parents' bedroom, because when they'd been travelling they sometimes went straight to bed. But the bed was empty, and the note from the first day was still there. "Tea in the fridge, sandwiches in the oven, have a good time." Have a good time was a typical grown-up remark that didn't mean anything. He went to the fridge and took out the bottles of tea and poured them in the sink. His mother said tea was very good for children, because it made the insides of their tummies golden red colour. Grimble didn't mind what colour the inside of his tummy was. He didn't like tea. As he drank quite a lot of coffee and ate white chocolate, he thought his tummy was probably about the right colour. What would be especially nice, he thought, but to get some sort of coming home present for his parents. He went to the cake tin. It was still about a third full of coins, so he took a handful and went to the shop on the corner. "Good evening," he said to the dotty lady. "Could you give me a present for 2 people returning from Peru?" The woman gave him a street map of Manchester and 2 pencils and said, "Would you like me to wrap them up?" Grimble said, "Naturally. Who ever heard of a present that was unwrapped up?" So she wrapped the map in the pencils and found a card which said, "You're 5 today." Not terribly suitable, but the only one in the shop, so he bought it and wrote "Welcome home" on it and ran back to the house. "I'm home." There was no reply. He crept up the stairs and looked in the bedroom. Nothing, just a have a good time note. So he went downstairs and looked at the list of names. The last name was Madame Beryl's Cake Shop. Madame Beryl was a friend of his mother, who sometimes called and talked to her about self-raising flour and currant loaves. She was a very fat lady who smelt of vanilla essence. Grimble had once gone into the bathroom and found Madame Beryl standing on the scales, and the pointer on the scales pointed to Jones & Co., which is just after 16 stones all the way round. Madame Beryl's shop was past the station. There was a row of shops selling fish and children's clothes and electric light bulbs, and then the cake shop. On the shop window he saw a note which said, "Back soon," and under it she had written, "Grimble, key to the doors in the fish shop." So he went into the fish shop and said, "Please can I have Madame Beryl's key?" And the fishman said, "Do you want chips with it?" "Yes, please," said Grimble, "and a little wine vinegar. I don't care much for malt vinegar very much, but I do like salt." He got a very large bag of hot chips and the key to the cake shop, and let himself into Madame Beryl's and ate chips. They were particularly well-cooked chips, and when he finished he wiped his fingers on the handkerchief and threw the chip paper in the waste paper basket in the corner. He missed the first 5 times. Then he went round exploring. The kitchen was at the back of the shop, and when Grimble came into it, he realised straight away why the cake shop woman was so fat. It was full of cakes and buns and rolls and fruit loaves and meringues and macaroons and fairy cakes and mince pies and fruit tarts. On the shelves there were packets of jelly and tins of fruit and bags of different kinds of sugars, jars of jams and treacles and syrups, and a mousetrap. There was also a note. It said, "Grimble, please help yourself. Fridays are good nights for trifles. Look in the book for instructions." He looked in the book under tea. There were 7 pages about tapioca, and then a chapter on trifles. "This is a good thing to eat," said the book. "My trifle's a mixture of fruit and cream and cake and jam and jelly and sugar and almonds. And if you like custard, custard. It's eaten cold." Grimble leaned the cookery book against the flower vase on the table and decided a large bag of chips does not make people very hungry for trifle. But Madame Bell had obviously gone to such a lot of trouble to get all the things that go in a trifle, he felt he really should make it. And after all, it didn't seem difficult. He got a piece of cake and poured on the juice from the peaches, put on some strawberries and a spoonful of jelly and a layer of custard, and then the cream, and then he put some almonds into it, and then he thought, I could have put meringues in and made it my own trifle à la Grimble. I could write a cookery book and become rich and famous, and when I walked down the street people would point and say, "There goes the inventor of trifle à la Grimble," and others would say, "Not the Grimble," and the first lot of people would say, "Yes, the Grimble of trifle fame." So he got a fish slice and lifted up some of the trifle and put the meringue in the middle and pressed it into shape again, and he put almonds in the holes his fingers had made, and it looked exceedingly handsome. As there were a lot of cake boxes about, and the chips and vinegar were still doing their job stopping him being hungry, he decided to take the trifle home. He might give it to his parents as a welcome back present. When he arrived at his house, he opened the door and shouted, "I'm back!" There was no answer, but there were about 5 suitcases in the hall which had not been there when he had gone out. "I'm back!" he shouted. "Hello, Grimble calling parents over?" No one answered. He went up into the bedroom. There was no sign of them, but the note had gone. Came down again, looked in the front garden. No sign. Then he went into the kitchen. And there they were, the 3 of them, his father and his mother and his trifle, sitting very quietly at the kitchen table. And his trifle had been unwrapped and stuck in the top of the cream with 10 whole candles and 1 or 2 bits of candles, all alight. "Peru's a bad place for cakes," said his father. "Never go there if you want cake, really not." Grimble looked at his father and mother and thought, "They're back, and school is over, and tomorrow I'll get 10 pence for breakfast, and we'll read the newspaper together, and if they get up in time for lunch, I might actually cook them something."